Hey, this is Barbie, Bell's Palsy Talk. I hope you're all having a great day. We're going to be chatting today with my friend Brenda. Brenda is very active in our communities here with facial paralysis, and she was one of the first people that kind of contacted me when I started Bell's Palsy Talk. There you are! Hooray! Hi,
Yeah.
welcome. So nice to
Hi.
be chatting with you. We've chatted a
Hi.
couple times on the phone and offline, but it's so nice to be chatting like this with everybody.
Thank you. And sorry, I'm drinking a glass of wine, so my teeth might
No
look a little
problem. It's
dark.
evening time to put your feet up and have a glass of wine, that's for sure. I'll do that a little bit later here as
I do
well. You're
it.
about 3 hours ahead of time um, for me. So why don't you tell everybody, we have quite a few people joining us today. Hi to everybody. A little bit about your journey, about when you woke up on that fantastic first day and discovered, hooray, that you get to be part of this club.
Well, my journey's a little bit different than the norm. I was having surgery on
Right,
another
right.
rare condition, and the doctor hit an artery, and half my blood supply drained into my head. They had to fix the artery, drain the blood. I woke up like 3 or 4 days later in a coma on a ventilator. Um, and so, sorry, I didn't realize this was going to be so
No, it's
emotional for me
okay,
to
of
say
course.
this, but it's the first time I'm kind of putting myself out there
Mhm.
publicly, Barbie. So I've talked to a lot of people one-on-one. So this is a big step for
Well,
me
I'm
too,
honored to be
to
here
do this.
with you and hold space. So
Mhm.
whatever you're comfortable with sharing, and if
Thank
it gets
you.
to be too much, just let
Mhm.
me know and we can try it again another day. I know that you have been through a lot, and we welcome you to share your experience. I know that you have connected with so many people and helped them out on their journey.
Mhm.
And help them find resources and things like that on their journey. So, will you just go ahead and talk about your experience, maybe recovering from the facial paralysis?
So that whole first year, as we all know, during recovery is the worst, like darkest days of your life. Um, and I was suicidal, to be quite honest with you, which is I'm kind of embarrassed because I see so many brave people in this group, um, braver than me, and finding this community and this group has just given me, they do more for me than I do for them. So, after a year, when I kind of knew when I wasn't going to make a full recovery, which is so many topics, Barbie, we can touch upon within this subject. For me, I just didn't want to wait. I sought out a surgeon around 8 months. And by the time I got to a doctor, because that was another tailspin journey, I was about 15 or 16 months in. And then by the time I had my big 12-hour, the nerve graft that a lot of people are familiar with, where they take the sural nerve, they attach it to the good side of the face and thread it over to the paralyzed side of the face. That was 2.5 years. So by then, I felt pretty comfortable with my decision because the medical community says that's when, not that you can't heal after that, but my smile was like the Joker. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt pretty comfortable with my decision because I wasn't making any more improvement. I was making maybe little tiny small improvements, but and the doctor was honest. She said at this point, we haven't seen anyone make a full complete recovery with physical therapy alone, in their
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Everyone has their own journey. I try to respect that and help them with how they want to go through this journey or their process. Sometimes people just want me to listen to them, and I love doing that. My sister tells me I'm kind of a rare person to listen to depressing, but it helps me too. And I just know that first year was so horrific, and how important it is to be there for someone, because until I found this community, I felt so alone. I felt like I was
Hmm.
crazy because everyone was just saying, get
Yeah,
over
could
it,
be
move
worse. It could be
on,
worse, you
forget
know?
about it. Could be,
Yeah.
yeah, could be worse. So I was so tired of hearing that. And when I talked to someone for the first time, I was sobbing hysterically because I couldn't believe that someone actually felt the same way I did. So it was just amazing comfort.
And just to not have
Um,
to
and
explain,
I've
right? They
had,
just know. It's always so nice, you know, when you don't have to explain or find the
yes.
words.
Mhm.
And, you know, like yourself, I'm just really enjoying this community to be able to bring people together. And, you know, it's really like anything else, you know. So with facial paralysis, it's like anything else. Weight Watchers, AA, all these, you know,
Mhm.
communities that bring people together, that have the same troubles or the same situation in life or similar, so that you don't have to explain yourself. You can just say, this is what I'm feeling today. And the other person's like, oh yeah, I got, you know, I got that. So.
Yeah, I have people text me. I've never met anyone in the group in person. Well, I take that back. I did meet one person from Lebanon, who reached out to me and actually had surgery with my doctor, and we met in
So
my doctor's
fascinating.
office. So that was so exciting. But most of the people I've never met, and I just feel such a strong connection to this community and the people and wanting to help. And most of all, I just want to bring awareness. You know, there's cancer is just thrown in our faces every day, and none of us want it. We know it's not good, but no one really understands
Mm-hmm.
facial paralysis. And I was listening to your guest the other day. I can't remember when you had her
Mm-hmm.
on, Faye. Faye, I
Yeah,
can't remember her
watch.
last name.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah, she's,
professor.
isn't she amazing? Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Watch. Thank you. Oh, loved it, and I can't wait for her
Yeah,
book to
yeah.
come
I'm
out.
definitely gonna have her on again
She
for
just,
sure. She was, it's so I'm so fascinated by the mental health side of it, which you and I have talked about quite a bit.
yes.
Um, you
Hmm.
know, yes, there needs to be more awareness of, you know, the surgery and the physical therapy and things like that. But I think people are on that, working on that. A lot of really qualified people. For me, the part that really interests me and fascinates me is the mental health part and the grief part of it.
Yeah. 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 My doctor was the first one to tell me that
Mm-hmm.
I was grieving. I had not heard that. And I was like, wow, somebody
Mm-hmm.
understands
Mm-hmm.
and gets it.
And I didn't even, you know, when I talked to Dr.
Instead of,
Mikal last couple weeks ago, never even really kind of made that connection a little bit. You know, we kind of just, okay, well, got to move forward, got to get over it, got to push through, which I honestly
yeah.
believe is one of the reasons why a lot of us ended up in this position in the first place, because we push through, don't listen to ourselves, not enough self-care, whatever your situation, different.
Mhm.
But I do believe that maybe that resonates with you as well. And we just push through, and we need to stop and take a minute and be like, hey, you know what? Like, this is, this is a loss. I have lost, and it doesn't even matter what, we don't need to
Mhm.
put a name on it. We don't need to, you know, when I'm writing, I keep trying to put a name on it, like lost your smile. Well, I didn't lose my smile. My smile just looks different. Or lost my old face. Well, it's still my face. You know, we don't need to put that word on it, because we all understand what
Yeah.
that is, that grief, when we're talking to each other, which is what's so
Mhm.
nice, you know, about our community as well. Willie Boy says on here, our healthcare system is so different here in Canada. So I'm in Canada. So I'm curious to know
Oh,
what you
yeah.
mean by that specifically. Because yes, I do know that it is different. There's certain pluses and minuses of things. You know, of course, our healthcare is covered, so it just depends. We have to do a little bit more digging for information. You know, down in the States, I feel like you guys have more specialty kind of clinics, whereas up here, maybe we don't. But Willie, I'm interested to know what you mean by that. Anyways,
Mm.
I do also like to say, and like you were saying earlier, Brenda, is that, you know, doctors are humans, and, you know, cancer,
Mm.
is so unfortunately common, and there's lots of education around it, and they're continually educating themselves on things that affect a big percentage of the population. So I do understand that. Unfortunately for us, it's very unfortunate that we, didn't get the education we need. Yes, Willie, I feel like my situation wasn't taken seriously either here in Canada, but I do, I think that's globally. I don't think that our situation is taken super seriously in any country. And we are working, Brenda will be very involved. Yeah. Don't you worry. I've got some doctors, and we're chatting about a Beyond Bell's Palsy Summit. And what the goal is to get education out there so that doctors at the front line, which is basically like the ER or GPs, to have a checklist to say, these are the things that need to happen. Obviously for yourself, your situation was different. But for Bell's Palsy and Ramsay Hunt and things like that, that's what we're kind of aspiring to do, and I know that you'll help out with that as well.
Absolutely. I'm honored to do that. I think you're just such an amazing, special person for doing these chats, and I feel grateful to be a part of this and want to spread, the word. And you're right, doctors. There's so many chats that have been going on Facebook that I could just go on about things to say and different opinions, but I think it's going to have to start with us, because the medical community is not going to take, my doctor's trying to get for the acoustic neuroma, the brain tumors, trying to get the hospitals to take control of that and say, okay, now your patient needs to go to the next step, trying to do that. And there's just so much education that needs to be done within the medical community. She'll tell me that I know more.
Most people that come on the chats, that's what they say. That's what Faye said too, is the doctors to be like, more. Well, of course, because it personally affects us. And so that's where, for me, I think that if I'd had more information at the beginning, I wouldn't have ended up with synkinesis. But you know what? It is what it is. And if I can help somebody be like, hey, hope you don't get it, then that makes me really, really happy. Christina Beans on here and Millie, I want you to DM me after our talk, because I'll give you some information on some different specialists that you can see for the comments that you're saying here. Millie is saying all you get is prednisone, and they say 2 weeks to 6 months. So for anybody joining us here, I highly recommend the book. It's called Fix My Face, and it deals with all types of facial paralysis, and it's written by 5 doctors who specialize in facial paralysis. So it's called Fix My Face, and there's lots of links throughout my social media, but I'm happy to send it to you as well, because that's where I kind of gear people. To me, that's the most educated information I've found so far of all the doctors together. So like Brenda and I,
you can get it on Amazon. You can get that book on
Amazon. You can't Amazon, but there is an ebook. So I usually refer someone to get an ebook, because you can get it right away. And but like Brenda and I say, like, it is our passion to get that information out there, both the physical part and the mental health. Brenda went the surgery route. You're very happy with your decision. That's amazing. So why don't you talk a little bit about that process?
So you talked about synkinesis, and I had neurectomy for synkinesis, and I also had the cross-facial nerve graft that a lot of people talk about. And then I've also had some other like smaller surgeries. I needed like a brow lift, an eye weight. I had a hemi lip lift. Originally, my doctor was going to do the gracilis, and then she said, let's try a hemi facelift, and she did a cheek fat graft.
All these things that you remember the terms, I'm impressed.
So, yeah, you kind of get thrown into it.
It becomes normal terms, unfortunately, to you.
Some other people asked me just reached out to me before this chat, and I said, message me. Anyone can reach me on Facebook, message me on Instagram. I'm more than happy to talk about that and share my experience and try to find people, doctors or help. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to travel because there's in the United States might be slightly better than Canada, but there's still a
Yeah, you still
rarity
have to
of
travel
doctors and
around,
specialty.
and find.
Yeah, I I'm fortunate. I drive about 4 hours to see my doctor. I still have to get Botox, just not as much as after the surgeries. But I'm very happy with the neurectomy in my eye and the synkinesis and just getting a normal, not Joker looking smile. And sometimes I've even said to people on the site, I feel guilty posting my pictures because some people don't always have a good outcome, or they don't have the insurance, or whatever reason they don't have the ability to get surgery. So it kind of it
Mm-hmm.
tugs at my heart, because I just want everyone to, be able to get help and treatment that they want, that they're comfortable with, whether it's surgery or Botox. I know I'm 61, and some of the older people, what I hate to hear is doctors saying, "You're too old. You can't go through that big surgery. You can't do that." And I did it. I'm fine. It was 12
Mm-hmm.
hours. It was
Yeah.
it was rough.
And it's your face, and you have
It's
no
not easy.
guarantee, outcome. Just to go back, I do feel that way too. I feel very guilty sometimes posting, and I do too, because my synkinesis isn't as bad as it could be. I feel very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, oh, I encourage other people to post no matter what their issues are. So I want to make sure I do that too. And I encourage you to do the same. I am very fortunate that I do have the means to, try some things out. I am getting Botox again tomorrow, I think. And I did get it a couple of years ago around my eye, and very successful experience with that. So I am going to chat about that here, because I do know people are quite nervous to get Botox. Christy is just saying on here, I don't want to see she does want to see someone for Botox, but doesn't dare just go to anybody. Of course, absolutely. For me, I always just make sure that it's a doctor up here. In Canada, you can go to dentists, a lot of they're not like spas, but they're kind of places like that. And I'm sure they're qualified, but I kind of make sure I interview who I'm going to see. Now, the other thing is I also see Jody from the Center for Facial Recovery. Now, last time I didn't do this, but this time she basically gave me like a map, and going to take the map in to the doctor here, and she's going to do that Botox for me. So I'm really excited about that, because you have like the specialist who I saw virtually, and then also I can get it done here. So I'm really excited about that kind of their, pairing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a great option. There's so many great options,
and that's what I just love. Like you're saying, that's why we just open and have these conversations, because there's lots of specialists that you can see over Zoom. And, Jody's in Maryland. And especially after COVID, that is a blessing, I think, that came from COVID, is that there's so many people. You can do anything over Zoom now. I was in court a couple weeks ago, and I'm on Zoom. Yeah. Like, how crazy is that? But that's great that we can, do all these things. Yeah, Ticket Running says she gets Botox every 3 months. Well, that's great. Now, were you nervous to get the Botox, Brenda, or were you kind of you're comfortable with that, I guess, because you've had procedures on your face,
the first doctors I went to, they did not explain anything to me at all. They were just like, you can get Botox. And I was like, well, what is that for? Isn't that just for cosmetic?
It's for crow's feet.
And so
you're like, I'm good with my crow's feet. That was my only problem. I feel lucky.
Yeah. So I didn't understand it. And when I finally got to a facial nerve specialist, she said to me, oh, it's very important to get Botox to deactivate the overactive muscles and be able to retrain the muscles. Try to get everything in a calm space, so that right now, she said, your muscles are just firing all over the place. Yes. And so she said, we need to get a calm situation going and then start retraining. So then I was on board, and I was like, okay, then let's do it. Then I said, I don't know how these people do it for cosmetic, because I was like, get these needles away from me. I was the biggest chicken for needles, and it's getting a little better. She just put some in this is my good side, and then she put some, we started with the good side, and then the next time we added to this side, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so much more comfortable
talking. Isn't it weird though that they put it
eating,
in the good side? I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, they have. Well, these muscles are strong. They're always going to be stronger than this
good side, you mean?
So my physical therapist, So my physical therapist suggested trying to make these muscles more calmer, because sometimes these muscles are overworking to try to, right, they're working too hard. So, and we kind of got off on a subject of Botox,
I always get off on subjects.
which is a good thing. But I wanted to also touch upon my doctor also, some of the older women that are afraid to go for the bigger nerve graft, the neurectomy, where they're cutting, and not just, I shouldn't say older women, but that's what they've expressed to me, that they're afraid. And there's some smaller surgeries, like a brow lift, a lower eye lift. I had a hemi lip lift.
You could do, little bit.
And one of the women said to me, oh,
get ease yourself
said,
into
you know what? I can do that, and that might get me to, my doctor calls them tweaking things to get you to a better place.
And some things might bother people more than others. Like for me, my eye really bugs me. I was just gonna say to Sally now, if you're still here joining us, she says, does it stop your eye from squinting when you talk? So my eye does that. I have synkinesis in my eye too. When I talk, my eye is very active, especially when I'm tired. And it did, so like I said, I haven't had Botox for about 2.5 or 3 years now. I am going back tomorrow, but last time it did help that quite a bit, which makes sense. Like what Brenda's saying, it just calms those muscles down that have attached in the wrong, or the nerves or whatever, that have attached in the wrong place, calms them down. And then also what Jody told me too, and Pam says this, she said she thought Botox would help with movement, but now know that it's just for tightness. Yeah, so Jody was saying I think I'm gonna get some in here, because this muscle, she says, so tight, this fascia, that I can't even, with the stretches, she's like, you're not even gonna get anywhere. So very interesting that way, like you're saying, it calms them down, like, let's relax, you're okay. But yeah, I mean, it is, the thing is with Botox too, that I've learned, again, not a doctor, neither is Brenda, we're just talking about our own experiences, is from what they told me, that Botox, because it goes away, you can get a little bit at a time, it's not a big to do. So maybe, also with the baby steps, you go in and you say, hey, I'm just interested, I'm nervous about it, maybe I just get a little tiny bit, see if it helps, and go back. Same as the little surgeries, like you're saying. You don't need to go big or go home. This isn't, it's your body and it's your journey. And just go in and ask the questions. It never hurts to ask the questions, and reach out to Brenda, especially if you're
I also had
that.
I also had the DAO done.
Now what's that?
And that's something that's the depressor, probably not pronouncing it right, argulis muscle in here that pulls that corner of the mouth. It pulls down a lot of tightness. So it's right in here. And if you look at the facial muscle, which I do physical therapy, that's the first thing she handed me, was a picture of the muscles of the face. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in science class again, because I have to learn. Yeah, when I had knee therapy, I didn't have to do that. But when I had face therapy, I have to learn all the muscles in the face. Crazy, but that's the way it is. And so they can inject that with Botox. She also did the lidocaine test. She did that first to see if it would work. So they inject a numbing
that's what you get
agent into the DAO muscle.
Lidocaine or whatever.
Yeah, similar. Yep, lidocaine. And so then they see it works. And so I decided to go for the surgical. I'm all for more permanent. I wish I didn't have to get Botox at all, but I still have to get some, especially for this eyebrow. It still raises higher. And and also these muscles were like pulling so hard on these guys. So she
Right.
calms this
That makes
down with
sense.
Botox.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because I think that's
So
what I'm going to ask about. Yeah, this eye, because this eye gets like tired because it's like still a little bit, saggy in there.
only thing I don't like about Botox within the eye is, and even people have said that it stops the blink. My eye doesn't blink for maybe, I want to say 1 or 2 weeks, and then it goes
Okay.
back to blinking. So there are some, what I call
Right.
compromises that we
Mm-hmm.
have to accept. I don't have that when I had the neurectomy. So now I don't have to worry about that
Right.
anymore since I had the surgery. I don't have to worry about the Botox and stopping my
Right.
eye
Now,
from
for
blinking.
people with the eye,
So, but
though,
I've heard some
if that does happen to you, we want to make sure that we mention, like, I've learned that the eye not blinking is a huge deal. I didn't realize how big a deal it is. So you want to make sure that you
people.
have whatever protection you need, ask the questions, make sure that eyes closed, especially when you're sleeping and you have that lubricating stuff in there. But then also too, I learned that really affected my facial muscles as well, because it doesn't blink all the way. My eyes still don't blink all the way, apparently.
Hmm.
Um,
Mine doesn't either. I'm getting ready to have surgery for that too. Some people don't want to have a lot of, some people think it's a one and done, maybe, but facial paralysis is
yeah, oh
so
yeah, and
complex
little
and,
tiny muscles.
you know,
It's a little tiny, right? So that
mhm.
is, that is the big challenge. But if anybody here has any questions about the surgeries that Brenda's had. Now, if you haven't joined us since the beginning, Brenda had a facial paralysis from surgery on a brain tumor, so not Bell's palsy, but we are talking about facial paralysis here. So she's had various surgeries done on her face. She's very open about it. I'm very honored and really proud of you for coming on and being so open here. I know it's tough when it's the first time and you're actually on
Thank
video.
you.
I do know, but I hope that this has been a little bit part of your healing journey, and we'll definitely be in touch soon. And yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to have you as a new friend.
Oh,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Barbie. Touched my heart.
We'll be
Thank
in
you so
touch, and
much.
I hope everybody
I
had a great
appreciate
chat.
it.
Make sure if you have any questions, you DM, and anything that Brenda did mention in the talk, I'll try to tag here in the comments on the names of the muscles and the surgery. So maybe Brenda, you could send that off to me whenever you have a chance. I think I got most of it. And then if there's any other questions, you guys can ask Brenda.
Okay.
She's around on social media. She's fantastic,
Sure.
super supportive human. So you have a great rest of your night, and we'll be in touch.
Thank
Bye.
you. You too. Good night.